Israel's history is intrinsically linked to a series of conflicts whose complexity and bloodiness have shaped not only the region but also global politics. These conflicts, spanning from antiquity to the present day, represent a fundamental chapter in human history. The impact of these wars has reverberated far beyond the borders of the Middle East, influencing geopolitical dynamics, international alliances, and the debate over people's rights. Understanding their nature is essential to analyzing the present and future of this crucial region. Israel's history can be read as a succession of wars, struggles for existence, and the affirmation of its identity. Each era has brought new challenges and new adversaries, but the constant has remained the need to defend its presence. Recurring themes emerge from this long war narrative. The struggle for survival, the pursuit of self determination, and territorial control have been the primary drivers of almost every conflict. These elements intertwine in a complex mosaic of claims and resistance. The biblical context offers the first evidence of the wars of the people of Israel, outlining an identity forged through challenges and conquests. Ancient narratives describe a people constantly struggling to establish and maintain their promised land. Among ancient Israel's main adversaries were the Philistines, Canaanites, and Assyrians. These peoples posed significant threats to the stability and existence of the Hebrew tribes, leading to frequent and often brutal clashes. Characteristics of ancient conflicts included epic battles, often described in vivid detail in scripture. Prolonged sieges were a common tactic for conquering fortified cities, testing the endurance of attackers and defenders. The historical consequences of these wars were profound. They led to the formation of the United Kingdom of Israel, its subsequent division into two kingdoms, and ultimately the destruction of both and the exile of the people. These events left an indelible mark on Jewish collective memory and identity. After centuries of diaspora, the 19th century saw the birth and growth of the Zionist movement. This Jewish political ideology aimed to re establish a Jewish homeland in the land of Israel, then part of the Ottoman Empire and later under the British Mandate. The Zionist goal was clear: to create a Jewish homeland in Palestine where Jews could live in security and self determination. This dream, fueled by persecution and national aspirations, began to take shape with the first waves of immigration. However, the arrival and settlement of Jews in Palestine inevitably led to a clash with the resistance of the local Arab population. The latter saw their identity and control over the land threatened, giving rise to growing tensions. The rising tensions resulted in a spiral of pre state violence, with clashes between Jewish and Arab communities. These episodes foreshadowed the large scale conflicts that would characterize the region after World War II. Israel's Declaration of Independence, which took place on May 14, 1948, marked a momentous historical moment. It proclaimed the birth of the State of Israel, fulfilling the Zionist aspiration of a Jewish homeland. The reaction of the neighboring Arab states was immediate and violent. The day after the declaration, a coalition of Arab armies invaded the newly formed state, beginning the War of Independence. This conflict saw Israel fight for its survival against Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Iraq. Despite initial predictions, Israel managed to defend itself and consolidate its borders, albeit at a very high human cost. The Six Day War of 1967 was another decisive conflict in which Israel achieved a crushing victory against Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. This war led to the occupation of significant territories, including the West Bank, Gaza, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai. The Yom Kippur War of 1973, launched by surprise by Egypt and Syria, severely tested Israel's defenses. Although Israel managed to repel the attack, the conflict highlighted the country's vulnerability and led to major changes in military and political strategy. The regional impact of these wars was profound and lasting. They reshaped regional boundaries, altered the balance of power, and consolidated Israel as the dominant military power in the Middle East. The Israeli Palestinian conflict has become the crux of Israel's modern warfare, a complex and deeply rooted issue. It represents the struggle for land, identity, and self determination of two peoples. The Intifadas, the Palestinian uprisings, represented waves of violence and resistance against the Israeli occupation. These uprisings highlighted the deep divisions and conflicting aspirations of the two sides, highlighting the need for a political solution. The First Intifada 1987 to 1993 and the Second Intifada 2000-2005 claimed thousands of lives and had a devastating impact on daily life. They also led to greater international recognition of the Palestinian issue. Key factors in the escalation include the continued construction of Israeli settlements in the occupied territories, perceived as an obstacle to the creation of a Palestinian state. The blockade of Gaza imposed by Israel and Egypt has created a humanitarian crisis and fueled desperation. Repeated cycles of rocket attacks from Gaza and Israeli bombings have characterized recent decades, keeping the region in a state of constant tension. These cyclical clashes impede any progress toward lasting peace. The search for a peaceful solution is hampered by a myriad of factors. Issues such as the status of Jerusalem, borders, refugees, and security remain key points of contention, making it difficult to reach an agreement. In addition to the Israeli Palestinian conflict, Israel has been involved in wars with other Arab neighbors, particularly Lebanon. These clashes have often stemmed from border tensions and the presence of armed groups. The conflict with Hezbollah in Lebanon is a prime example of these dynamics. Hezbollah, a Shiite political and military group backed by Iran, poses a constant threat to Israel's security, with frequent exchanges of fire and tensions. The Iranian threat has become one of Israel's most pressing concerns. Iran's nuclear program is seen as a potential existential threat, prompting Israel to consider all options to prevent the development of nuclear weapons. Iran's support for militant groups in the region, such as Hezbollah and Hamas, is another destabilizing factor. This network of proxy alliances heightens ongoing concerns about the potential for a large scale conflict. Tensions between Israel and Iran are also manifested through cyber attacks and covert operations. The possibility of a direct or indirect confrontation between the two regional powers remains a constant source of anxiety and strategic planning. The impact of war has profoundly shaped Israeli society. The constant threat to security has helped forge a resilient and militarized national identity where military service is a fundamental rite of passage. These conflicts have had a pervasive influence on Israel's domestic and foreign policy. Political decisions are often driven by security considerations, affecting every aspect of public and private life. The economic impact has been significant, with massive investments in defense and the military industry. Despite this, Israel has developed a robust and innovative economy, often in sectors related to technology and security. The consequences for the region have been equally significant, contributing to chronic instability. Wars have fueled cycles of violence, displacement, and resentment, making it difficult to build lasting peace. These conflicts have caused immense human suffering, with millions of victims, refugees, and traumatized people. The human cost of wars is a constant reminder of their devastating reality. The search for lasting peace remains the crucial challenge for Israel and the entire world, a peace based on mutual recognition of the rights and aspirations of both peoples. A just and sustainable solution requires difficult compromises and the will to overcome decades of mistrust and conflict. The region's future depends on the ability to find common ground and build a future of coexistence.